I saw the photos first thing in the morning, Italy. Sunlit piazzas, gelato in hand, my parents smiling in the kind of way that seemed meant to be captured, celebrated, remembered. Finally, a trip with only the real family. My name wasn't there, not even a hint. I sat on the edge of the bed, phone in hand, heart quietly tightening. I had felt it before, the small dismissals, the passing over for birthdays or school events long ago, but this was different. The message was in pixels and captions, not just in gestures. My exclusion was public, intentional. 3 days later, my phone buzzed with a bank alert. My eyes widened before I even read it. An 11,400. Athens hotels, restaurants, tours. All of it charged to my card. I stared at the numbers, the decimal points, the sudden impossibility. My stomach sank and I caught my own breath. The quiet weight of being both violated and unseen settled around me. I remembered all the tiny inequities, favors granted to my siblings, overlooked successes, conversations that skirted around me as if I were air. And now this, an audacious assumption of my passivity. Then a text from my brother, wrong number, wrong recipient, relax. He never checks that account. I read it twice. I could feel the casual arrogance in the words. And something inside shifted, not rage, not panic, but awareness. I replied, simple, measured, I just did. The next 20 minutes felt suspended. My phone rang, it kept ringing. Each vibration punctuated the quiet tension in the apartment. When I answered, the voice on the other end was calm, professional, a bank officer confirming the fraudulent charges had been reported. The relief was instant but muted. No applause, no fireworks, only the quiet click of boundaries being restored by authority. I put the phone down and walked to the window. Outside, the city moved along without noticing my small, private victory. The photos on social media didn't disappear. My parents' vacation was still framed and filtered, their smiles still broad, still unbothered by the breach they had committed. I thought about calling, but I didn't. There was nothing to say that wouldn't dilute the calm control I had just regained. I thought about my brother too, about his clumsy admission. I imagined him trying to gauge my reaction, realizing for the first time that I did, in fact, notice. But I let him stew in uncertainty. No spectacle, no vindictive escalation, just the quiet, undeniable fact that the power had shifted, if only temporarily. Even as the initial shock faded, a different unease settled in. The knowledge of their casual betrayal didn't vanish. I couldn't pretend the exclusion hadn't hurt, nor the audacity that had crossed into financial territory. I would be different now, more measured, more guarded. Perhaps colder, perhaps just aware. The photos stayed online. The vacation continued in their narrative. But in my narrative, something had changed. A boundary had been enforced, authority had intervened, dignity had returned. I wasn't celebrated, and I wasn't triumphant in the way a storybook ending might demand. I was simply whole, quietly within my own control. And maybe that was enough. Silence followed me into the evening. I made dinner, washed the dishes, answered a few work emails. Outside, the sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the streets. I thought about family, about trust, about all the unspoken rules that had been broken. I thought about the subtle power of noticing, of choosing. The photos, the charges, the texts, they existed together now, a triangle of memory and consequence. Nothing had been announced, nothing had been celebrated, but I knew. And for now, that knowledge was mine alone. Quietly, I sipped my tea, the warmth grounding me. The world continued, indifferent to the shifts in my internal universe. And I let it. I would forgive in time, or maybe I wouldn't. That was not the point. The point was the calm reclaiming of space that had been taken, the measured assertion of boundaries that mattered. In the absence of applause, in the absence of vindictive spectacle, there was control. There was awareness. There was dignity. And that, finally, was enough.